What's up guys, welcome to Grease Rookie Garage. If you're new to the channel and you end up liking what you see, consider subscribing, that would be awesome. So, what we're gonna tackle tonight is, oh wait, cue the intro. Nala, quit stealing the show, pretty girl. Yes, you're so pretty. All right, now we can talk about what we're tackling. So I debated whether I was even gonna cover this. I kind of wanted to just get it finished tonight, skip over it, not have to film it, and move on with the quarter panel. But I thought about it and I was like, well, I am trying to show what it's like as somebody that is learning as they go, the problems they have to deal with. So about a week ago, when I think it was actually whenever I was pounding on a lot of the metal, my spot welds broke loose on this side of the rear frame brace and it fell down. And of course, it screwed up everything over here. And I mean, obviously, yes, that makes me question my welding. Now they were just little tack welds, but I really feel like they should have held better. So I have a lot of pondering to do, and you know, I need to consider my welding skills. Anyway, regardless, what we're gonna do, we're gonna strip these down, grind the welds down, break the thing free, and get it secured and welded in properly, because I am okay with where I had the rear trunk brace, and I probably should have just done it fully welded in before I proceeded with all the other stuff. But as you guys know, we live and learn and we get educated as we go, which is what I'm doing over here. So tonight's project is fixing this rear trunk brace, and then we can move on to fixing or installing the quarter panel. But honestly, there's no sense in, you know, lining the quarter panel, putting the weight of the quarter panel on the tail panel here, which is connected to the rear trunk brace, which is putting weight down on all that stuff, and this thing isn't even welded in properly, so it's just, I need to stop and fix this before proceeding. What do you want, little girl? What is it? There's no food in the freezer. None. It's all gone. You ate it all. Oh, you're adorable. So with all that being said, it looks like we're gonna start out grinding some metal, and we are gonna have to dust off the welder and see if we can't get things welded up properly. So we have this ground down. The reason it did not fall off is because when this happened, I came back and I put a sheet metal screw in through the support here for the trunk latch, threw that into there just to hold it attach it from here to here to hold this end up. But this is sitting down. I mean, it's dropped a little bit and it's not level. And if you look at the level here, and then you find a spot where it should be level, you know, it's definitely not sitting level back here where it should be. So there's some work to do, some figuring out to do, and I don't know how well it was ever even attached underneath here. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. It's probably, I mean, it's a good thing it happened when it did, because it was gonna happen eventually, and if it had happened after I had gotten all this work done over here, would have been a major headache. All right, so a couple things before I proceed. In inspecting this side, I'm not real happy with the tacks on this side. And in fact, this bottom one broke free. So my welding, I just don't know. The way that this brace sits, it doesn't want to sit, it's not angled exactly the same as the frame rail. It's got some spring to it. You have to push both surfaces to get them to mount flush. And I think the best way to do it, rather than I don't think I accomplished it properly with clamps. I'm thinking about actually maybe drilling up through each surface and putting in a sheet metal screw to hold it flush while I do the welding. So I would like to, I don't know. I don't really want to break this side free if I don't have to, because up until this point, I have kept this in place where it should be. And obviously this comes into play with the quarter panel alignment, all that stuff. So we're kind of in no man's land as far as I'm concerned. I think I'm gonna grind this down because this is already broken free. I'm gonna drill up through there and get a sheet metal screw in here first before I do anything over here. Get this in place and we'll figure out what we're gonna do from there. Now let's just see if I can't take this little feller out without screwing up the shot. One-handed. That ain't a bad idea. Ah, got it. The things I do to get the shot. Okay, so now we can see there's some funky stuff going on with where the edge of the tail panel rides along the rear trunk brace. It sits up higher in here, and along here it's a little funky. I don't think this lines up. You can get this to line up perfectly, but clearly it does need to go upward some. So that's what we're gonna work on now. And I'm not sure the best way to approach this. I think we're going to start out by just pressing it up and trying to clamp it down on the far frame rail over here. I don't know. This upper lip, this edge here on the rear trunk brace is just a bit wider than the original. So this angle here, so the support for the trunk latch, this angle here wants to try to stop it from moving upwards. So you got to bend this out some to get this to fit properly. So I'm going to do some bending on this and pressing up. What are you throwing a fit about, huh? I just fed you rib bones and you're making it sound like I don't feed you. Maybe you just need some pettings? No? You want more rib bones. Yeah. Nothing's ever good enough. Okay, so this is the problem area I'm talking about, and you can see this is bumping into this, so this actually needs to be bent out some. And we're gonna do an experiment somehow and bend it out to get more room to shift this brace up. Just haven't decided which tool is the correct one for the job at this point. And I got to be careful because really what I'm pressing against to leverage is the tail panel. So I got to be really careful here. And we are making up ground level-wise. We're getting close. So that helped. And at this point, with bending that out, I don't want to push on this. I don't want to bend against this tail panel anymore. I think I'm going to take a hammer and just tap with a wood block and see if I can't get this up. And once I have this level, we're going to tack everything in with sheet metal screws. And we're going to do a much better job at welding. Second go around. Alright, so after a little bit of off-camera work, this is lined up a lot better. It's secured with sheet metal screws in the end of both frame rails, and it's pretty darn level across. And now it's just a matter of grinding off the old welds, getting everything flush against that frame rail, and putting in good welds. And once I do that, I'm going to decide whether or not I'm going to tack it across the tail panel, because that gives strength, obviously, to the entire structure, but at the same time, if I need to have movement with this tail panel based on how things are lining up in all this, I want to be able to bust these 2 spot welds and shift things, I think. So I think I'm going to hold off on doing that and just getting that frame rail, that trunk brace tacked in good. All right, it's now Saturday night, so the next night, and getting ready to weld. What I want to show you though is what I did here. We have the rear trunk brace held in place with a sheet metal screw here and here, and then with those in, I came back through with a punch and a hammer and bent these flanges in to meet flush with the rear trunk brace. And I should get a much better weld doing that. So all we really have left to do on this side is re-drill our holes. This gets 6 holes, and I think under here it gets 2 holes. So a total of 6 welds up here and 2 welds here for 8 total welds on this side. Now when that side busted off, it only had 2 welds as opposed to the 8 that should be holding everything in place. And I'm confident enough that this is sitting level that we can go ahead and put this in permanently. Hopefully I don't regret it. All right, very flush. So we're through the rear trunk brace and we have a good welding surface there. Everything's looking very flush. And what I'll probably even do is I might come in with an angle grinder and just really clean up that surface of the frame, even though this was sanded and primed. We'll see. We'll see. All right, so that gives me a really good strong surface to weld to. So we'll have, I gotta obviously repair this, but we can get 3 in here, 4 in here, and that should hold this well. Okay, so all I did there was get in there and make sure the metal on the frame was cleaned up real good. So I just sanded it with this little die grinder I picked up. Oh, I think I got this at Harbor Freight a long time ago. So now we're good to weld. Alright, so we're just going to go ahead and call this what it is. It's ugly, terrible, and beginner's work. So I feel like welding is one of those things that maybe you progress at for a while and then you regress. You got to figure things out and then you progress. But obviously there's two different thicknesses of metal I'm working with here. The frame rail is thicker, and then I have this newer rear trunk brace. And I have the welder on the lowest setting. It's not the most advanced welder. It's got 4 settings there for me to work with, but obviously still I burned through. The reason I burned through was because I was much more concerned about getting good penetration, so I was holding longer than I probably should have been. Maybe the better thing to do would have been to go on the next higher setting and just move quicker. I'm not sure, but I'm going to go ahead and release the sheet metal screws and see how this holds, and I'm going to pull it and move it around because I have to know if that's gonna hold. I can't just assume it's going to, because we can't really move forward until I get this stuff welded in properly. So we're just gonna keep doing this until we do it right. Well, nothing moved, but it doesn't really mean anything. I think we might be all right. Doesn't look pretty, and it needs cleaned up, and I will clean it up. I'm not going to bore you with that, but it's going to be probably just tacking the metal, tack, 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 and build it up. Obviously, as we progress, we want to avoid doing all this nastiness, so we don't got to waste our time doing that. But I guess my point is hey, it can look discouraging, and you might be all right. So it looks like we have good penetration through over on the other side. So that might be it for this episode. So I didn't quite get as far as I wanted to get. Actually, I didn't get anywhere where I wanted to get because I wanted to be working on the quarter panel, but I had to fix my mistakes. So that's just part of it. And I mean, I'm not real proud of my welding. We got to go back to school on that. I'm gonna have to get some scrap metal out and start practicing again, because I think I regressed some. It's been a while since I fired up the welder, so, and I think it shows. Anyway, I'm gonna get the rest of this rear trunk brace taken care of, but I gotta get in and start editing this episode because it's late Saturday night and I wanna get this up for Sunday. Also, don't forget, I'm running a contest right now, 1,000 subscriber giveaway contest where you can win 4 prizes. There is a sweatshirt, 2 different posters, and a mug, and 4 people are going to win one of those prizes. And you can't comment on this video. I mean, you can comment on this video, but to enter, you have to go back and watch the 1,000 sub giveaway video and comment, like, and subscribe to that video to be entered. So go check it out if you're interested. If not, no big deal. Appreciate you hanging out this episode. So I'm gonna try to get this episode up, and I'd like to get another episode up early next week. Try to start doing 2 episodes a week. I don't know, we'll see. I'm really wanting to get into this and get it done. We'll see. So, all right guys, I appreciate you hanging out with me. Until the next episode, stay driven.